Good morning, Genius fam. I almost hit the end stream button, which would have been bad because I can't start it over again. I'm off to a great start, don't you think? Also, we've had several power surges today. So if you lose us, where we will go is over to Twitch and we'll just stream directly to Twitch. Or if you just reload the page that you're on, but this instance will end because that's the way technology works, and it's only 2022. So if you're expecting Minority Report stuff, just you're gonna have to be patient. We're not there yet. I would love to know what everyone is sipping on, and be honest, if it's already beer, you do you, boo. Maybe you've been up since 3 this morning. 9:30 would be an appropriate time to start if you're into that thing. I'm drinking mostly creamer, and I ran out of my creamer, so I had to combine creamers. So do y'all want to know what my creamer situation is? It's pretty gross. Actually, it's really good. Oh, that's so weird. Before I tell you about my creamer that no one said yes to, but I'm going to tell you anyways. So over on Twitch and Facebook, you can do certain little picture emojis, right? And the way you type them and the way I see them is different than the way they come up on the screen. That little guy is blue. Sam, you'll have to tell me what color he is where you see him, because in the back end, I see him like black pants and red shirt. Man, technology is so weird. Again, we're not in Minority Report territory yet. Celsius energy drink. Isn't that the White Claw of energy drinks? No judgment. I White Claw's pretty good. My creamer situation that no one wants to know about is I have it has to be the HEB Texas pecan whatever. Yeah, okay, so that's weird. It showed it as a blue guy. Look at the blue guy. That's not purple. So Coffee Mate has this new creamer called Brown Butter Chocolate Chip Cookie, which is really good. But I only had a little bit. So I had a little bit also left of the Grinch sugar cookie. And for those of you that don't know, I'm drinking whatever I want until the end of the year. And then I'll get back on the drinking so much water and eating a cucumber. I'll get back on that train soon. But through the end of the year, Grinch and cookies is pretty dope. But it's not an energy drink. Audrey, what are you drinking? Sam, what are you drinking? Everybody has to have a drink at all times, right? That's kind of the way. Aren't we all? Isn't it like in America, we're supposed to, if we're at a desk, there needs to be a drink somewhere within reach at all times or we get fired? I think that's it. I think that's the law. And I saw a tweet recently that somebody did a stitch. No, it wasn't a tweet. It was an Instagram or a TikTok. And somebody was like, what is the thing that like no one really talks about, but everyone should? And someone else was like, the fact that no one in adulthood actually knows what they're doing, especially at work. Everyone just says they know. Yeah. Coffee with the very last ounce of creamer. My ways are if you want thick thighs, this is the recipe. You just get anything Coffee Mate that says cookie because there's like 10 different cookie flavors. Don't do it. We'll all die early. Black coffee. I always wish, like, I always wanted to, because I was raised by mostly by my single dad. And so I always kind of had, like, I've struggled to get away from my need to be like masculine, I guess. And yeah, just do the thick thing, just any cookie kind of thing. So for those of you that drink like black coffee or like whiskey on the rocks, I grew up definitely wanting to be that girl. And so like I drank nothing but beer until a couple years ago I realized, oh, I can drink whatever I want. Who cares? I'm going to drink a fruity drink. Doesn't matter. I don't. Nobody's judging me. I'm judging me. No one else is judging me. And if they are, I'm at that age where I don't care. Like, you can judge me. I have birds on my shirt. Do I care what you think? Yeah, I do. Don't Aren't they cute? They're like little orange. They're in honor of the Twitters. Just kidding. We're going to talk about Twitter though, I promise. But Sam, you're drinking the black coffee and I always wanted to be one of those people that could, because my dad said things like this. Tell me if your parents said this. My dad would say things like, "Ooh, that's good. That'll put hair on your chest." And that was seen as like the good thing in my house. If it was something tough guy, it'd be like, "Ooh, that'll put hair on your chest." And even as a little girl, I was like, "Oh, I knew literally he didn't mean like, Lonnie, you're going to have a hairy chest." Maybe he did, I don't know, but I realized it was like, "Oh, that's a tough guy thing. That's a good thing." I was taught early. So anything like black coffee, I'm like, I still in my head will say, "Ah, that'll put hair on your chest." So when you type black coffee, that was my immediate response was, "Ah, that'll put hair on your chest." Mhm. Okay, y'all, I was really surprised that for those of you that were here on Friday, what did we say about Twitter? We said we were going to watch to see if it failed over the weekend, since a lot of the infrastructure team was gone. They didn't have mass outages. So we're going to talk about that here in a minute, but I thought that was pretty interesting. I really was sincerely convinced that like it was going to go down on Sunday night, or yesterday during the US game. Yeah, but that's not tough guy stuff. You're not gonna say, "That'll lose your hair on your head." Other wackadoo things that my dad said was, he would say, "You just put one more nail in my coffin," and my brother and I were both very sensitive children, so that was really upsetting. We'd be like, "Oh my gosh, we're literally killing father. Oh, no." We didn't call him father, though. I'm sorry if you call your parents father. That's definitely not what we call Dad's still alive. He might be watching. I don't know. Sorry, Dad, if I'm a very tough person. Dad, please love me. I'm so tough. That was like the core like thing that you got praised for as a kid was being tough in our house. But okay, so what do we have to talk about today? We're going to talk about CBS muting Twitter. We're going to talk about Airbnb. A lot of people are saying it's over. Like Airbnb is dead. That's my best Nick Kroll doing Lola on Big Mouth impersonation. That's actually my voice for like anything I'm trying to do. So please praise me anyways. We're going to talk about LinkedIn did this new study and has a new tool out that I want to show you so you can compare maybe how your job skills have changed over the years, what's in demand. There's also, I want to talk about some nerdy stuff too, because we haven't talked about hardware in a while. So we're going to talk about this new computer chip that came out this fall, or it's not on the market yet, but that could change the trajectory of AI. And I want to talk about this huge suburb that they're making that is completely 3D printed. So those are the things that I'm not going to read this. For those of you that don't know what that means, I think we're talking about coffee. And Sam has cats. And also he is the founder of BeFake, which is the opposite of BeReal. He can pitch it to you if he wants. But so there's a lot going on. Again, if we lose power, which we've already lost power once, which means like everything goes out and the router takes time to come back up, we'll just be on twitch.tv. And if you're not already following us there, it's twitch.tv/The American Genius, or you can just Google Twitch and then search The American Genius. You'll find it, I promise. Yeah, I am too. Now some of it I'm going to have to like fake it till I make it because some of it I don't know, but a lot of it I do. So I'm very excited to talk about that, especially because if I'm going to do my AI art, I need the robots to keep up with me. I don't need them to slow down and make a big carbon footprint. So for those of you that are here for the first time, thank you so much for joining. The format is we'll do about 5 stories. Let's see, do we have 5 or 4? We have 5 stories. I will get in my emotions about them and I will laugh for you. I will cry maybe. I don't think I've cried yet on the show. It's going to happen someday. And I'm going to yell about some stuff, but not yell to where like I blow out the microphone and you can't hear me, but it's going to get loud because I'm not very good at censoring myself or turning it off. It's kind of how I am most of the time. But this show is brought to you someday maybe by Big Egg. You know how there's like Big Pharma, there's also Big Egg. And they haven't called us yet. Please call us. We want their money, but we want to promote egg. Egg is very protein filled and it just gives you everything you need. You can do so much with egg. You can scramble it, you can fry it, you can poach it. That's all I can think of. You can put it on top of food, you can put it under food, you can make it just the whole thing is food and you don't even have to add anything. And someday I might, if y'all are really nice, I might tell you the secret forbidden recipe to the best scrambled eggs. But Ben is in his office. He's going to say, no, don't tell anybody. So I'm not going to do it today. But maybe someday if he's not watching, I'll tell you the egg recipe because it's his recipe. And I'll get in trouble, but it'll be fun. So I'm going to roll the intro because then I might slip in a little cursey word or two. And then we're going to talk about all the nerdy stuff and it's going to fill your brain. And the next like networking event you go to, you're going to be able to like pop off facts and know exactly what's going on. And everybody's going to be like, wow, how'd you learn all this stuff? And you're going to be like, it's just in my brain. I mean, you should tell them about AG Live separately, but you can also take credit for just like growing your own brain. That is completely a thing. Welcome to AG Live. I'm your host, Lonnie Rosales, Chief Operating Officer at the American Genius News Network, reaching entrepreneurs, startups, real estate pros, plus other job creators and job seekers alike, all with a nerdy tech flair. Let your hair down. We're allowed to cuss. Let's do this. Let's do this. I kind of want to have a remix of the intro where it's like a WWE intro and have like a lot of screaming. Yeah, man, you can cuss so much. Hello, new man 20s. Sam says, oh, nice. Yeah, so thanks everyone for coming. I'm really excited that you're here because it means that whatever you did over the weekend did not kill you, and I'm really proud of you for that. And sometimes y'all think I'm kidding when I say that, but like I'm being serious. We're kind of in a world right now where if we're here next week, that's like we did the right things because or we didn't. It's unpredictable. This we could blink and it could just be, another time. So dark, Lonnie. Don't start a Tuesday talking about that kind of stuff. No one wants to hear it. They want to hear about why you have birds on your shirt. And that's because it was a cute shirt at J. Crew. And I like it. And this jacket is also very professional. Look at how professional. Look, there's real lapels. They're not even just like on a t-shirt. These are like real lapels. Look at that. Lonnie, you're so professional. You guys, I know. Okay, let's talk about the CBS thing. Y'all hear about this? Have you ever heard of a CBS? It's a news channel thing called CBS. And there we go. We can widen that a little bit. So CBS has said, oh no, we're not going to tweet anymore. And everybody else is like, like we want to care, but we don't. Just kidding. We care, but I know some people are like, CBS, they're still around. But okay, let's catch up really quickly in case you are not in the little loop. I'm going to bring you into the loop because I love you and I think you're neat, and I'm going to bring you into the loop. So there's been all this drama at Twitter. Old Muskie ponied up some pennies for the social media platform. Even the acquisition process was dramatic. What's been really unique about this is that it's all been really, really public. Normally acquisitions, everything's like real hush-hush, especially publicly traded companies. Like nobody in the company can talk about anything until an acquisition is complete. Like they especially won't talk to us in the media. But All parties talked this time. It was very weird. We've never encountered anything like that because normally there is a silence period. Then last week, as you know, he challenged his employees to take the hardcore culture challenge, where they would subscribe to long hours and grueling work to get shit done or get out. So 1,200 accepted the challenge and left. Also, he didn't use that voice when he talked about the hardcore culture challenge, but that's what I imagine. Like that's what I would hear if I was an employee. I'd be like, "Am I a pro wrestler now?" So it's been chaos at Twitter. Like we talked about last week, people don't even like some of them want to resign, but they can't find the person to submit their official resignation to. There's no HR department, which what I didn't say last week and what I've been thinking about is like, if there's no HR department, this has to be like a dream scenario for like the creepy office dude that always wants to rub your shoulders. Right? Like this is the perfect time. Hustle culture. Yeah, he's giving off some real Gary V vibes right now. I don't know what's going on, but um yeah, so it's been bonkers. I just think it's funny. Like I know since he's requiring like so many people to be in the office, you just know there's that one dude and it could be a female. So I'm not just trying to say dudes are creepy, but like there's that one person that like is too touchy-feely for the office and should not be doing that. But HR's not around. There's no HR department. So they're like, oh, yeah, shoulder rubbing time. Everybody's getting shoulder rubs. There's got to be someone in the company, statistically speaking, like somebody is excited that HR isn't there so they can like make that joke that they really shouldn't be telling at work or like touch the shoulders they really shouldn't be touching. Oh, I'll tell you, before I talk about CBS, do y'all want to know how to fight back if there's somebody in your office that's too touchy-feely, especially if like you're physically in an office? Um, Back in the day when I was in the corporate world, and I won't say any names, I'm going to make up names. Um, yeah, it's got to be like Twitter's got to be just like shoulder rubs and bad jokes, like real bad jokes right now. So I worked at this company and we all had kind of like open offices to where like it was like physical walls, but open. I don't know how to explain it. Anyways, there was an executive from a different that I didn't answer to, and he would come over and kind of just like linger too much. And I was super OCD and I didn't type out my notes. I hand wrote like all of my notes. So like every call in and out, I would always write down because it just kind of kept me focused. I'd write the incoming date, time, number, person, what was in it, whatever. And it was for me. It was just so that I could reference back and be like, well, wait, no, I did tell them X, Y, and Z. And I did it by hand because I could remember it better. If I type, I kind of forget anything I like. I have like shrimp for brains. So it's just a bunch of scrimps up there. And so if I type it out, it's gone. If I write it, my hand did something and my hand remembers, I guess. I don't know how it works. That's just shrimp for brains, but like genius hands. So like I'll remember anything if I write it down. So homeboy would come over to our building, which there were 3 buildings on the campus. He had no real business. Like he was an executive. He could be wherever he wanted. Like, but I didn't answer to him. So why he ever like hung out anywhere near my office, whatever. So he came in one day and literally sat like right here on my desk. Like, so everything's like right here. And I was not interested. And I felt like I was very clear about that because I was doing this number. Like, so I took my pencil and I wrote down time and date. So and so, I'm not going to say his name because I signed a piece of paper and they gave me money. So and so sat on edge of desk within centimeters of my arm. I felt uncomfortable. He was continuing to linger despite my beginning to write this note. And he looked over and saw what I was doing and literally just like gets up and walks away. I was like, I knew it. I knew it. I also was fired pretty shortly after that. Not related, of course. But so if you ever want shoulder rub guy not to, just literally like type out or write out a note like in front of them, like time and date and what they were doing. You might get fired, but you won't get shoulder rubs anymore. So what do you want, a job or no shoulder rubs? Just kidding. That's how you deal with that. Doesn't make you popular, but it makes you right. So, okay, back to the news that y'all actually care about and what I'm going to yell about, which is CBS News in the Bay Area. Whoa, everyone watches them, has paused their posting on Twitter. Now here's a dramatic reading. I'm going to show you their tweet so you know I'm legit. I'm going to do a dramatic reading. They say, in light of the uncertainty around Twitter and out of an abundance of caution. I'm doing preacher voice. Thank you very much. CBS News Bay Area is pausing its activity on the social media site as we continue to monitor the platform. Oh my God, how vague can you be? But we're not dumb. We know what's going on. Okay, but let's make some points about this. We noticed that over the weekend, most people didn't understand, especially like cable television news anchors when they were talking about it. They did not understand that this was just some random CBS affiliate, not CBS as a whole. So all weekend we heard CBS has done this, CBS did that. No, CBS National did not do this. It's just one affiliate. So before air, I went and I checked several other cities. They're all still using Twitter. CBS National is still using Twitter. It's just this one. And so it kind of blew up. And I haven't seen anywhere, I could be wrong, but I could not find where CBS had said that's just an affiliate. That's not all of CBS. Please stop saying that it's all of CBS. But this weekend, everything we heard was just CBS is not tweeting anymore. And then enter whatever their feelings are. So Austin CBS affiliate just tweeted like an hour ago, best wishes to Vandegrift High School Marching Band on their way to the Thanksgiving Day Parade, the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade in New York. And that is close to where we're headquartered. A lot of you are from Austin because we're headquartered in Austin, so that just makes sense. And Vandegrift High School is in Leander ISD, which is where we are. But have you guys ever looked at the like school maps? I looked at the map of Leander ISD and I have never thought of like school zones being gerrymandered, but oh my gosh, it's like this weird, like amorphous thing around like the left side of all of Austin. Like, how can children that live so far away from each other be in the same school district? And if you're not watching from Texas, we call them school districts here. I know they're called other things, other places, but they're independent school districts here. But yeah, so CBS Austin, they just tweeted a little while ago. I know they're still tweeting. Also checked Houston, Dallas, New York, a bunch on the East Coast. There was one in California that was still doing it. So it's just one. So this story that you can see on theamericangenius.com, if you want to be real wrinkle brain and learn more about it, because I'm just telling you the highlights. Jack Lloyd is our writer that covered this, who's been with us for like 800 years, and that's amazing. We love Jack. He wrote, Jonathan Vigliotti, a national correspondent for CBS News and the originator of the announcement on Twitter, said that CBS would continue to monitor the platform amidst concerns regarding the reliability of information and its susceptibility. Wow. Y'all should just take University of Texas, I love you, and hook 'em horns. I had a great time going to your school, but you should probably take my English Lit degree away. I'm not doing great today. You said it's susceptibility to manipulation on the newly managed site. So CBS Bay Area and some others are finding this really convenient escape hatch in the form of saying that they don't want parody accounts to be seen as them. That's what they're saying. Some people are taking it as they think they'll be hacked or like somehow uncovered, or I don't know, but they can put a PR spin on it all they want. But the truth is that, and I'm going to say, here's my hot take. Ready for a hot take? I'm going to yell about a hot take. Okay, here's the truth. Elon is not seen as a diehard for the left. And I think the right is also wrong to see him as loyal to them, but they do. So public perception is that Twitter's now a conservative company because Elon doesn't toe the line, which in the corporate world today is currently a deadly sin. You will be attacked online. So it's this interesting ripple effect. I'm going to tell you why I think he's doing this, and it has nothing to do with owning Twitter for making money. So hold on for that. So hot take number one is that it's a sin to appear conservative today, and he does. And so now Twitter's a conservative company. I think he'll flip on the right as well. I don't think he's loyal to any political party. So I think that's going to get interesting, and it'll probably get nasty in the future. But we talked about Mastodon, where a lot of Twitter users are going, and we talked about Parler, Truth Social. There might be some others. I don't remember that space, but they all gained users. So all of those sites, for political reasons, because users don't see Twitter as aligned with how they personally vote, they've bounced, right? So this time, folks seem to be leaving, but their account still exists. And I've pointed this out several times. Whereas when people were like, I'm going to Parler, goodbye, they literally like blew up their account and deleted it. Like it was gone. So I think some of this is theater. Some people are just kind of waiting to see how it plays out. I think some of it is sincere. I just think that like nobody's personality should be based on what they're doing on Twitter. And that's just where we are. And I think that's strange, right? But I'm still not, and I've said this several times, I'm still not convinced that Elon didn't buy Twitter as like part of performance art. I don't know. He's very hard to read. But here's my other hot take that you're not going to hear anywhere else. And no one has pointed this out. And I'm the first, and I'm in the Genius fam. And you're in the Genius fam too, which means you're a genius. Ready? I think he bought it to get all of our DMs so that he can run the world's biggest blackmail scheme since J. Edgar Hoover. I mean, think about it. Every single politician, every famous person, all of the history of DMs. Elon Musk has your DMs now. So as for me, joke's on him. My account has been fully automated for like 10 years. I haven't even looked at DMs since probably 2009. So joke's on you, Elon. You're not going to get any blackmail on me. You can hack my phone if you want. It's just pictures of cats and plants, cats and plants. But I do think that is, yeah, I think some of it, that his trolling and his bad joke backfired and they held him accountable. He actually didn't want it. I think there's some truth to that. And he was just rich enough that he was like, F it, whatever. But he does have a huge loan, and just the interest on the loan annually is $1 billion. So like he has to get this thing up and running. And as for Sam, hope he enjoys lots and lots of stupid memes. Yeah. Now, if Zuck ever went through and was like, I'm showing all the DMs, it's going to be like, uh-oh, now you know how I actually feel about famous people. And lots of memes. There's going to be lots and lots of memes. What about boots? Are there boots and cats? No. And that I have yelled about the news, but I think, and no one has talked about this, I really think that Elon was fine going ahead with the deal because he was like, all right, fine. I'm just going to be like the social media J. Edgar Hoover of 2022. I'm going to own everybody's historical DMs that they've ever sent. And so there are a lot of politicians that have got to be sweating. And if they're not, they're dumb. Because that's where a lot of dumb stuff has gone down. And I'm kind of excited for when there's some leaks. Boots and cats. Okay, so that's been really interesting. What y'all don't see is I'm still doing the hand thing. I'm just doing it on the desk so you can't see it as much. I'm trying to control my hands and I'm really struggling today. It's the coffee. Speaking of coffee, I think we should take a 5-second coffee break and everybody sip their coffee and get so full of coffee. And now we're going to talk about Airbnb because a lot of people are saying it's over, that they're done. Is Airbnb done? Are they over? It's possible. We're going to talk about that. What do y'all think of Airbnb? Do any of you own any Airbnb properties? Do any of you use it to try to travel? That's a secret to beatboxing in case any of y'all don't know. Boots and cats. Boots and cats. Boots and cats. So Airbnb, a lot of people are like, oh my God, you guys, Airbnb is like over. And then other people are like, what? So I have some theories that I'm going to share with y'all. But first, there's a great story on theamericangenius.com/housing. And Macy wrote all about it. And I'm going to show you. And we're going to get to the big old tweet here in a minute. But what's really strange about this is it's just super, super inconsistent what we're seeing. So there's a new hashtag, and the hashtag is Airbnb bust. And so I started looking into it going, wait, what are they talking about? And it's interesting. Jessup says, I like the convenience and options they offer, but not the damages and nuisance to neighborhoods. Yeah. And a lot of HOAs have actually, like, we're in a community where the HOA was forbidden. You can't do any rentals like that. You can do like long-term rentals, 12 months and up, but you can't do short-term rentals. And Sam, you use it pretty frequently. No properties though. I think that's kind of the average American tale. But let's look at this tweet that kind of got us looking into what is even going on. So below, and I know it's kind of hard to see, but I'll read it to you. Airbnb Superhost said, has anyone seen a huge decrease in bookings over the last 3 to 4 months? We went from at least 50% occupancy to literally 0% the last 2 months. I'm just curious if this is something only going on in my property or if other people are seeing similar things. I am in Palm Springs. Where are you located? So the next person was like, what's going on with Airbnb? No bookings at all. And then, of course, the Airbnb bust is upon us. Okay, wow. Those are all hosts that are saying they're experiencing this. And the Airbnb bust hashtag caught our attention. So Macy wrote something really interesting that I wanted to share with y'all. But first, creamer. Yum, yum. Okay, so Macy writes, we suspect the bust is most likely a phenomenon among social media sites, but it ironically paints an inaccurate picture of what's happening in the world. The total demand for short-term rentals rose by about 24% later this year compared to this time last year. So demand is way up. Why are these people seeing this shortage? So back to what Macy wrote. As stated by a recent report released by AirDNA, a data platform focused on vacation rentals, the average daily rates climbed to a shocking 31.9% higher than 2019. So demand is up 24% just from last year. The rates are up 32% compared to 2019. So why are all these people saying that Airbnb is over? Now, yes, Palm Springs, I think, is a really interesting place for somebody to kind of originate this because a lot has gone down, right? So I think that's really interesting. Now, I want to, let's see. Jetty says, made an interesting amount of money on Airbnb years ago. Haven't kept up since, but I think it definitely takes commitment and a lot more effort than people expect to do. Yeah, I mean, you're a property manager, and a lot of people think they're just going to pop something up on the site and like people come in and out. No, there's a lot you have to do. Yeah, Audrey said I used to use Airbnb and Couchsurfing about a decade ago. Not really anymore. Jessup says maybe the market's oversaturated. That's possible too. I mean, if we all know like 10 to 20 people that have Airbnb properties, that's a lot of people that are owning STRs, short-term rentals. So Jetty says there are generally two major kinds of people who travel on Airbnb. People seeking unique locations and people seeking cheaper travel. And then new hosts come on all the time and undercut the existing market of hosts. Yeah, that's a really interesting. Thank you for that perspective, Jetty, since you've been an Airbnb property owner. So what is going on here? Now, NerdWallet had an interesting warm take. I'm not going to call it a hot take. I think it's a warm take. And they say what's going on is the Apple effect. Now, remember years ago, there's this huge lawsuit back when like Android and Apple were your only two choices and your personality was wrapped up in whichever choice you made and you had to like fight somebody online. Now it's all politics, but back then it was just a beautiful either you were Apple or Android. What kind of nerd are you? And that's it. And fight to the death over it for whatever reason. So that was the Apple effect. The Apple was sued for their products degrading, like they were designed to fall apart pretty quickly so that you would have to buy a new product. That changed the industry because everybody was threatening to switch to Android. Did everybody switch to Android? No, people just bitched online about it and then bought another iPhone next year. And so the Apple effect is that even though people bitch online, Apple has tripled in value since that lawsuit. So why is there drama on social media about South by Southwest? It's possible that Airbnb made some changes to their algorithm, which could favor some hosts over others. And Facebook does this a lot too, where they'll change the algorithm and they won't tell you and they're not going to confess to it anyways. And you don't know the lines of code that are running it. So there's no way you can know. And I don't mean like you're dumb. I just mean like we're humans and we don't have the algorithm. Otherwise, we would have a competitive product in theory. But Facebook often does this thing where if like you're not, let's say you're promoting products on a page. If you haven't bought any ad space, you may not be valued as highly as your competitor who has bought ad space on Facebook. Now, I don't have any proof for that. That's just kind of the working theory that everybody operates on. It seems common sense. Airbnb may be doing something similar. Indeed. So I've spoken to a few superhosts who were baffled at the drama. They're not seeing the same thing. So I thought, well, okay, maybe like your superhosts, you're really high in the rankings already. That's not a fair comparison. So I spoke to two newer hosts with single properties. They've seen a slowdown, but nothing like what people are proclaiming on social media. And with AirDNA's stats, it seems unlikely that competitors have eaten that much of Airbnb's lunch. So I have a working theory. And I have absolutely, I'm not going to back this up with data because we're just chit-chatting here. We're just talking amongst friends. But here's my working theory. I bet that a lot of these people that are using the hashtag are first-year hosts. Now, the reason I think that's possible is if you open up shop in the middle of travel season, you're going to feel like, oh yeah, I chose the right line of work. Like this is a booming market. And then the travel season slows down, demand falls, and that inexperience could have just caused a public reaction. And they found just enough other people that are new to it that haven't seen any travel cycles over a year or several years, creating a little bit of an echo chamber. So I think it's either that or maybe Airbnb is jacking with the algorithm and we'll never know. But it does suck for those who are either too inexperienced to know how the cycle works and that demand is not constant at all in any sector of travel, or that they're simply being punished by some sort of secret algorithm shift that could favor others, maybe those paying to advertise. Who knows? But Airbnb still reigns supreme. And while their stock is down substantially in recent years, I think it was like 97 today, down from like 155 years ago. So are most stocks. A lot of stocks are down compared to this time 4 or 5 years ago. So this prop tech giant remains king of the Americas, or whatever. I declare it so. King, queen, royalty of the Americas. I don't know. We still just use hotels because we're both kind of paranoid, and I'm pretty sure that somebody's going to want to film a middle-aged bod and put it online. I don't have time to deal with it. So it's not gonna. I know there are apps that you can like use to scan for cameras in like Airbnbs, and I know they're in hotels too, but it just seems so much easier for someone in an Airbnb to be creepy. I don't know. Or the Airbnb owners finance on an arm and they're paying major interest right now, so the prices are going up. Yeah, it's a really good point, Ben. I hadn't thought about that. Thank you for adding that. That the owners' prices, if they are on an adjustable, their prices are going up as well. So if prices have gone up 30%, 32% since 2019, that could be a contributing factor with rates averaging 7.1% right now, as opposed to 3.5 just a year ago. Ouch. That's a really good point. Okay. Do you have a job? Do you employ people? Are you a human? Then you probably have skills. Great pitch, Lonnie. You're really doing great. You're so entertaining. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Okay, employable skills are shifting, and there's a great story on theamericangenius.com. Have you heard of it? It's called theamericangenius.com. It's where, of course, you've heard of it. Macy wrote a story about how skills have changed and will continue to. I hope you'll read the full story, but I'm going to give you my take, and we're going to tinker around with a neat little LinkedIn toy that's neat, and I'll share it with you in comments, but not yet because I'm going to tell you some stuff first. So what are we going to talk about? LinkedIn took a look at this huge mountain of data that they're sitting on. Anytime that there's a job ad put up on LinkedIn, which still remains one of the top places to put up a job ad, they list out all the skills you'll need. So LinkedIn was like, hey, let's go look at how that's changed over time. And Bill Gates, because LinkedIn is owned by Microsoft, in case you didn't know that, was sitting at home one day and was like, hey, it's time for some neato charts. Was that a good Bill Gates impersonation? It wasn't, but that's okay. So they looked at what employers have listed as skills required and noted that since 2015, there's been an 18% shift in what those skills are. I know that you're probably like, Lonnie, what does an 18% shift mean? It means that if you listed skills 1, 2, 3, and 4, now you have skills 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, or 1, 2, 5, 6, 7. And so there's been a 20% shift away from what was listed just in 2015 as required skills of job seekers. So I think that's pretty interesting. I'm going to share with you a little chart because I think it's kind of neato. And who doesn't like a good chart? Come on. Okay, so here's what we're talking about, the skills change. If I can get to it. Lonnie, come on, quit scratching your nose and do your job. So this is what they're showing. So over here, you see like this is when its skills are listed as number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 required skills, just kind of on average across the board. And then it's like, oh, 1, 2, 3, 4, 6. We added a skill and took one away. So we come up here, and I do think this was interesting because in 2020, that was at 26%, and then 25. So the average is an 18% shift. And what was blowing my mind was that they think that there'll be a 39 to 44% shift by 2025 and have like 3 totally different skills. Thank you. Thank you, Lisa. Lisa, I recognize your headshot. That background is from Rattle Inn, and I know who took that picture. Lisa, do I get a bonus point for recognizing your headshot? And it's so small. Y'all don't even understand. I see like a 15 by 15 pixel, but I recognize the background anyways. I think I could probably fit, I mean, once they're cracked, but 9 whole eggs might be tough. But yeah, you know what? Actually, I'm going to see, and then I'm going to let you know how many eggs I could put in this mug. It's like a sweater pattern or something from Starbucks. Ben's in his office, so he'll have to yell, where did we get this mug? I know it's a Starbucks mug. Oh, it was a thank you present when we went and spoke at Texas State a couple years ago. Yes, Lisa says I'm right. I know that headshot. Several of you have that same background. Can y'all recognize that? That's from the Rattle Inn days before COVID. Thanks. Actually, you guys are the geniuses. We're just here to celebrate your genius. Y'all are the genius fam. Okay, so what else is going on in skills? Lonnie, do your job, do your job. I'm really fascinated by the idea that they suspect a bigger shift by 2025. And I get that it's a 10-year spread instead of like a 7, but still 7. Yeah, okay, I did math. Did y'all see how quickly I computed that math? I'm really impressed with myself right now. But okay, I'm going to put my coffee down and I'm going to do my job. Look. Okay, so they have this little section called Explore the Data. I thought this was so fun. Oh, yeah, the mug isn't huge. I shrunken and the mug stayed the same size. Thanks for thinking I'm shrunken. Okay, so on this, let's say media and then job title. Let's go look at, wow, whoa, Lonnie, easy, tiger. Okay, so writer. So this is just one example. So for a writer in the United States, skills have only changed 12%. Now, if you look here, it shows this. Here's 2015. Okay, so writing is obviously the top skill, creative writing, editing. And here's where it starts changing. Blogging went down several. Copy editing actually went up, which I think is really important because all these AI tools are coming out and it's actually making editing a more in-demand skill because the robots aren't all that great yet. Social media in 2015 for a writer is no longer even listed like as a top 10 skill required. And same with the word storytelling. Proofreading's still on there, but public speaking, thank God, is not required of writers anymore because if I identify inside of my brain as just like a quiet little writer and I just want to be like in a cabin with a typewriter and no internet, just banging out novels. And then publishing. So there were some new ones, web content writing, copywriting, which how copywriting wasn't on there to begin with is wild. Journalism, even though it's similar to storytelling, and research. So I think employers have just gotten better at writing a lot of these, but I'm going to share this in comments where you are because you can play with it and kind of see like how has it changed over the years for your job. And don't do it right now. Do it later. But I just think that this is really neat. Web designer has changed 16%. Responsive web design didn't used to be on there. HTML, Adobe XD, UX, and user interface design. Those things all weren't on there. WordPress has actually risen since 2021, which I think is really interesting and strange. But CSS went down one priority level. So you can go look for your jobby job and see like how has that changed. But be sure to select the proper country and then you select industry. They have like thousands of job titles listed, but this was kind of just fun to play with. And but don't worry, yoga instructing has changed a lot. Vinyasa was barely listed in the past, whatever that means. Mindfulness meditation, whoa. Anyways, skills have changed as they always do. But I think so. Yeah. You'll have to probably, let's look, warehouse associate. Whoa, warehouse associates changed a lot. I was trying to think of like what would have like containers, Sam. I think that's the closest was warehouse. Yes, the answer is yes. Of course it's in there. It's a real job. Everybody needs a dumpster diver in their hierarchy, in their triangle of pyramids, right? Okay, guess what time it is? It's time to talk about nerdy chips because it's time, and I really want to talk about this chip business because it has been a hot mess. If you've tried to buy hardware in the last 2 years, 3 years, it has been really difficult and a nightmare. So let's get into some chippy chips. Time to talk about chips. And I don't mean Lay's potato chips or HEB. That's our local grocer here in Central Texas or all of Texas, I guess. And they have these holiday flavors, limited edition. If you haven't tried them, what's wrong with you? You can eat whatever you want through the end of the year too. It helps if you gain a little bit of weight because then you have more to take off and you have like more feel good later. Because they say what our trainer said years ago, he's not our trainer anymore. I'm eating what I want and doing what I want. But that if it's so grab your belly and if it's like soft fat, you're like, oh, I'm just a little squishy. And you just kind of squish a little bit. That's the fat that comes off. It's when it's real hard. That's hard to get off. So I'm just still like depositing some like just the squishy fat. And one of the ways to do that is through the HEB's potato chips. They're limited edition stuff. Oh, Pringles. God, I want some Pringles real bad. HEB has apple pie flavored chips, which hear me out. You're like, that sounds disgusting. And I thought the same thing. But and we are not sponsored by anybody but Big Egg right now. So HEB is not paying me to say this. I'm just telling you the God's to honest truth, which is they have these apple pie flavored chips. It tastes like the first one's like, ooh, this doesn't taste like apple pie. This is weird. And then you realize, oh my God, this tastes like the buttery crust of an apple pie. And I'm going to eat this whole bag in one sitting and not get sick at all. And you eat the whole bag in one sitting and not get sick at all. They also have a stuffing flavor, like Thanksgiving stuffing flavored. And that's really, really good too. But I can't eat the whole bag because it's a little bit herby heavy and I get the burps. And then I have to do the show like I did once and just quietly burped the whole time. I'm not doing it today. I'm a lady, but I have before. But if you have an HEB in your area, try those weird flavors. Anytime there's a weird flavor, just be like, I'll try it. Ooh, that green sauce salsa. If y'all haven't tried that, any crappy food that you make will taste good if you put it on there. If you make bland chicken and you're like, oh no, bland chicken again, just slap it with that green sauce. That stuff is good. It's not, I mean, they have spicy. I don't like the spicy one, even though I'm getting better at eating spicy foods. I like the mild one. You just, well, it comes in like a glass thing. And so you just kind of scoop it. That's my scoop. Just scoop it. Okay. Oh yeah, we were going to talk about actual chips, computer chips. Lonnie's over here talking about apple pie chips again. What's wrong with me? Y'all, I'm trying my hardest, okay? I got chips on the brain. I forgot. That's what I have to go back to the store. I forgot the chips. I legitimately forgot the chips. But don't worry, I remembered everything for Thanksgiving. Which BT dubs, we don't do a traditional Thanksgiving here. We eat ribeye. Yeah, why is everybody just worrying about turkey? Get all the sides that you like the potatoes and the rolls and the green bean casserole, and then instead of dry turkey, just eat a steak. It is pretty great. And I know that not everyone can, and that is very privileged to be able to say, just go get a ribeye. But we're not traveling, so we're saving all that money. So we're gonna eat a steak. We're gonna eat a steak. Yes, but you have to eat at the children's table in the garage. Yeah, I feel really good about saying that. Very compassionate. That's what everyone says about me is like, wow, Lonnie is the most compassionate. Okay, let's talk about actual chips, you guys. There is a story on theamericangenius.com, which is the best news in the world. And there's been this really big problem with chips because, oh yeah, Sam Hill, you'll just get scraps later. I'm going to put them in the back for the possums so you can just beat up a possum to get to it. So, one of the big challenges with these new chips that are coming out is that they're really energy intensive, even the ones that we use like in our desktops right now. So, I'm rocking the M1 chip from Apple, which is kind of an energy sucker. And that's been a really big problem. And so let's talk about this technology. And by the way, if you've not watched Napoleon Dynamite to the point to where you watched after the credits, then you have not seen the song about I Love Technology. Have y'all, you know the song? Please tell me you know the song. If not, go back and watch Napoleon Dynamite and then skip past the credits and then watch the song, or just look on YouTube for the Napoleon Dynamite technology song. It's very good. And now I'm going to sing in my head the rest of the day. But I'm not going to sing it to you because I'm a terrible singer. Imagine this voice, but like worse trying to sing. It's bad. So, okay, let me step back and explain how this works because I know a lot of y'all are in tech, but for those of you that aren't, I want to give a really simple example. Let's say you're learning how to code. I'm going to use an example that isn't coding, but it will help you see in tech how this works. So, you know how to highlight something in either like a Google Doc or Microsoft Office and add a link. Then you may learn how to do it on your WordPress site, for example, and it's a little more sophisticated. And then, because there's more options, right? And then you start typing out your own code and adding things to it like no opener, no follow, target underscore blank. And as we progress with technology, we add layers of code. So what was just you manually like highlighting something in a Google Doc and adding a link can become something a lot more complex and that does a lot more things. And so we add layers of code and the algorithms become far more complex. So some suspect that the hardware will struggle to keep up as we progress with AI and we enter an AI world, and that the energy that we already burn with current computing will get bigger and bigger over time and break the entire environment from a massive spreading carbon footprint. Good job, everybody. You killed Earth because you wanted to use Zuckerberg's headset. Fantastic. So what's the answer? It was supposed to be neuromorphic computing. What? Y'all, I had to learn too. So I'm going to read what we wrote. Macy covered this. I'm not going to read her whole story, but one section is, quote, neuromorphic computing. This solution is inspired by the biological brain, that thing up there in your noggin, to produce eco-friendly and energy-efficient designs. The issue is, while these chips can clearly outrun today's digital computers in conserving energy, they lack the computational power that's required to run a deep and large neural network. This fact made it easy for AI researchers to brush it aside. Great. So what AI people were like, okay, cool. You can conserve energy, but you cannot run a large neural network on those chips either. But hey, big newsflash. Guess what? Three fellers named H.S. Philip Wang, Weir Wan, and Gert Cowenbergs and their colleagues revealed a new neuromorphic chip. It's called NeuRAM, NEURRAM. It's made up of 3 million memory cells and thousands of neurons compact into its hardware. So it uses a new type of memory named resistive RAM. All this sounds wackadoo, but listen. Aside from other RRAM chips, NeuRAM, N-E-U, I know it sounds like new, NeuRAM, is programmed to operate in a different way to save a lot more space and energy This chip can be up to 1,000 times more energy efficient than other of the neuromorphic computing chips. These are not on the market yet. You can't go buy one. But the point is, they're developing all these chips to keep up with the rapid advancements that we're moving towards, especially AI is kind of the next step of like what our average daily computing is. Remember, Zuck said that he wants his VR headset, his mixed reality headset, to become your desktop. But then also, Apple was like, hey, what's up, us too? And so that is the way we're heading. The tech companies are putting a lot of money and a lot of research into this technology of making all these headsets, and that's how we're going to live. It's just a bunch of, chonks sitting on the couch with our headsets. We've seen movies about that. We know it can happen. But all of this makes sense as to why the politicians are scrambling to secure chip production. It's not just for fun. And it's not just for like, I bought some stocks, which I'm sure is part of it. But there is a race to make these chips to support our technology that is coming. It's not like maybe this is like theoretically coming. It is coming and it's going to be on the market soon. So, can we do this without killing the entire environment? Maybe. I'm not even talking about the chip production. I'm just talking about the use of the actual chip is very high energy requirement. So, can we do this? And it looks like this fall, these guys, these genius fellers, I think they're all male. I don't know. I'm just assuming by their names. I could be wrong. But neuromorphic computing, look out for that. Set up a Google alert. Do some like nerd diving into neuromorphic computing because it might, with the NeuRAM, NEURRAM, that might be kind of what makes this all a possibility with this breakthrough that they have that saves a lot of energy, performs much faster, and uses the new resistance RAM memory method. So very cool. I like all kinds of chips, whether they're in a computer or they are made from potatoes and are in my mouth. But that is what is going on in the chip world. If you have tried to buy any sort of hardware in the past 2 or 3 years, you know it's already been hard. So they're rushing to develop technologies that can run faster, use less energy, last longer, and just not be garbage. But if the politicians don't secure these chip making process facilities, especially in Taiwan, as China's over there like salivating over taking them, then we're going to be in trouble. But as it stands right now, things are looking good. New development this fall makes it possible for the neuromorphic computing with this new method. I think we could be in the future soon. That's what I'm hearing. I'm hearing that I'm going to get a flying car soon, right? Just kidding. We can't even decide like whether we want to plug our cars in or use gas. We're culturally not ready for the future, but it is coming whether we like it or not. So, you guys, we have one more thing to talk about, and that is this suburb is breaking ground and it's all 3D printed with a robot. Maybe the future is here already. This is the time of the show where I'm almost done with my coffee, which means I am jacked. I am ready to fight you in a Taco Bell parking lot. Who's down? I'm ready. Okay, there is this cool 3D printed suburb. Have you heard of this? Have you heard of it? I'm going to show you. Don't worry, I'm showing you. There's this great story on theamericangenius.com/housing by Stephanie Dominique. And it is very cool. You can read the whole story and all that stuff here, her analysis. I'm going to get into that, but I also want to show it to you. But what's cool before I show you is that this is coming next year. They just broke ground, but it'll already be for sale next year. It looks like they say the location is unknown, but we did some digging and it looks like it's going to be in Wolf Ranch in Georgetown, which is just north of Austin for those of you that are not tuning in from Austin. And it will become home to the world's largest 3D printed home community. And it's concrete printing. It's not like hemp or anything like that. So don't get too excited. But it's created by a company called Icon, all caps ICON. They're doing this in partnership with Lennar. Now, I don't know what that partnership looks like. Lennar looks to be the sales broker on it and Icon the producer. Lennar might also own the land. I'm not really sure what their partnership looks like. But that would be my suspicion. They've already broken ground. What they say is they'll add 100 affordable homes to the area. It's kind of cool. This is kind of this is when they're being built. So I know you're looking at it going, ooh, that looks like a whole lot of concrete. Yes, all this is the innards. Its guts are made of concrete. And then they have like energy efficient, like 10 roofs with, it's kind of hard to see, but like solar panels here. You see them. All the homes have solar panels. It's also a sustainable community. So it's not just like, yeah, we're slapping up some concrete forms. But they say they'll add 100 affordable homes to the area priced up to the mid 400s. And yes, in the Austin area, that is considered affordable now, which blew my mind. Have you heard of the American Genius? You heard of this? You heard of 3D printing? Yeah, I did think it was kind of funny when they said we're building affordable housing and they're like 300,000. It's like, wait, but it's the Austin area. So that is for this area affordable. For those of you that are watching outside of Austin, we're one of the hubs that property values have like doubled in the past 4 years. It's been amazing and terrible all at the same time. So, Icon's co founder said that for the first time in the history of the world, what we're witnessing here is a fleet of robots building an entire community of homes, and not just any homes, homes that are better in every way. Better design, higher strength, higher energy performance, and comfort, and increased resiliency. Interesting, right? Interesting. Let's look at some more pictures. I'm going to pull this up. So Stephanie, who wrote the story, kind of had one of the same thoughts I did, which is, okay, these are going to be tiny homes. And I was like, great, congrats on doing a $300,000 tiny home. But it's not. They're actually 3 to 4 bedroom, 2 to 3 bath, and they have 8 different floor plans. So it is kind of like a standard Lennar community where you have like a family sized home. They're not tiny homes. They're not bungalows. They're normal sized for Texas, this area, normal sized homes. What's interesting is that sustainability is increasingly important. But what's really, really interesting is the prospect of new home builders creating an entirely new sector. If 3D home printing takes off, which this is just one community, so nobody's like super excited about it or like suspicious it's going to like take over, but this is really desperately needed. And not just for the sustainability, but for the just the sheer idea of getting like units online is really, really critical and has been for several years. That has been a huge part of what has held the market back. We've told you before that Dr. Yoon at the National Association of Realtors is kind of our northern star. Like he's who we look for to kind of like cut through the BS. Like he has access to the best data and he has really like calm, normal analysis. He never like hypes things up or panics about stuff. But what he's been saying for years is that home building, imagine a chart where it goes like that, right? Home building should always be kind of going like that, or at a minimum, going like this, building this many units a year. What's been happening is that home builder production has gone down. Why does that matter? That means demand is still up here and there are not enough houses coming online. Everybody's buying used houses. There's no new to supplement that demand that's increasing over time. And so we have this huge shortage. Now, Dr. Yoon has already said that this is like a once in a generation thing. They put out a call for like all politicians, even like city council people to like change zoning laws to speed it up, to change to where they can convert commercial space into residential because we desperately need the number of units. Our nation is still growing. But I love the idea of this 3D home printing because if it becomes more widespread and more sufficient, then this really could answer the need for the number of units online because what's happening now is because there's not enough. There are people that qualify, have the down payment, and there's not a unit available. Period. Yeah, those trees are real. Those trees are real. And Ben asks that some of you might not know that years ago, we fought for the city council in Austin to pass the green spaces laws regarding requirement of keeping a certain amount of any commercial or residential development, a certain percentage of green. You couldn't just like raise RAZE. You can raise everything and just like put a bunch of concrete pillars down. So I think that this could be really, really cool for the demand. And not just from like a perspective of, ooh, neat, 3D printing. My hope is that it does really, really well and takes off because our housing market desperately needs the units. There are people that want to buy and can buy, but there is not an availability. Inventory has been so supremely tight for several years, like 6 years now, that everybody's been screaming about it in the economic sector doing analysis. But this 3D printing could be part of the answer to that, not the full fix. But if there are builders saying, I can't get lumber to fit the profit margin, I'm not going to build a house with a 1% profit margin. So that remains a problem. And with labor remaining tight as well, the builders are saying we can only build at this rate. We can't. And a lot of them can't get the full financing that they need for all these rising costs in the past year or two. 3D printing, more than a novelty. Very cool. Okay, what do we talk about today for the pop quiz later? Because someday there's going to be a pop quiz and you could maybe win prizes for winning the pop quiz. Okay, we talked about, you got it. Say it in comments. CBS mutes Twitter. It's not all of CBS, it's just the Bay Area. Who cares? But also, it is interesting where that's going. And the theory is that we're working on is that Elon just wanted all your DMs. He's the J. Edgar Hoover of 2022. Mark my words. We talked about the Airbnb bust hashtag. Don't really know if it's legit. Maybe, maybe not. I think it's kind of much ado about nothing. It feels good to complain. Boy, does it feel good. I love complaining. I really do. We talked about that new LinkedIn report that y'all can all go play with, talking about the future of skills and how demand for certain skills have shifted. Really go look at, if you're hiring people, that'll also give you an idea of kind of what words to use in a job listing. That could be helpful. We talked about chips, every kind of chips. We talked about neuromorphic computing and potato chips from H-E-B that are flavored like apple pie crust. It's very tasty. Please don't buy all of them because then I won't have any, but just buy one. And lastly, we talked about the 3D printed suburb that is breaking ground and should be available in 2023. And that is good. What I would love for all of you to do is, after we're done here today, if I could ask, Audrey wins. Oh yeah, egg. Brought to you by a big egg. If you could do us the honor of sharing AG Live to your own networks with your thoughts. And one way that you can do this, and I'm going to type it out in comments, is by sending people to theamericangenius.com/live, and even just sharing that link on like a Facebook post and telling them what you think. On this link, every single recording ever is there on that page, so somebody can go watch any of them. Maybe you have a favorite. But also y'all can get, some of you I see have not signed up for alerts, but there's a little button up there that says SMS. I'll text you, I'll email you, show you how to do calendar alerts, all the things, so that you don't have to remember what day it is. But it would really mean a lot to us if you shared that link, theamericangenius.com/live, and told people what you thought of the show and why you watch it. Because I have fun and I'm glad you're here. And, Audrey brought her brother to the show on Friday. So she's currently the real MVP, honestly, of everything. But I'm not going to see you this Friday. You know why? Because you're going to be with family and we're going to be putting up all the insidey holiday stuff. And it's going to get real holiday-y in here. But that takes me like 3 days to do because we're kind of all OCD and got to touch it a million times. So I will see everybody here next Tuesday at 9:30. I had a blast with y'all today, and brother liked the jazz hands. I don't know what's wrong with my brain, why I do that, but have y'all ever seen the video of the Italian couple? And she's American, he's Italian, and she always tries to get him to like speak without his hands, and he can't. Like everything is like, even the Italian hand, like even does this for everything. I thought it was fake at first, but I've seen so many now that I know it's not. But I'm like that except for like jazz hands for whatever reason. But please share theamericangenius.com/live with your social networks and tell people what you think of the show. That would be fantastic. That would be really helpful for us. And I will see y'all here next Tuesday. Good job today. You were all very nice to each other.